Hey guys, so welcome to my new episode, and in this episode I'm going to talk about, we're going to do a Bitcoin glance episode, and I'm going to talk about H&Y Fractals and last trades that I did, and I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to demonstrate exactly how it works. A lot of people are asking more and more information about H&Y Fractal trading, so I decided I'm going to shoot this video. And then I also have a few other concepts to share to demonstrate how these fractals get skewed, H1, H2, H0, and how do they relate to the phase of the trend line and the phase of the market as well. Then I'm going to talk about such concept, what I call projecting fractal hologram. Is instead of projecting the price and exactly where the price is going to be, what you do is you look at the current fractal and you project the future fractal based on how current fractal is formed. And that is much better, because what you're doing is you're looking at the current situation, and as the price moving, as it's evolving, you get to adjust your hologram, right? So it's like like the hologram lasers, they have the pattern, and you shoot through the pattern, and then sort of the image appears as as it's getting more precise and precise. That's pretty much what we're doing here as well. And I also would like to talk about the execution and the concept of such simple concept of trading. And it's difficult to explain to a lot of people, so I decided I'm going to show a demonstration. I'm going to do a demonstration what it's like trading H&Y fractals, or any kind of strategy that works for that matter, right? I'm going to demonstrate, and I hope that is self-explanatory. So here we go, guys. We have a Bitcoin coin, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna flip, and in this case it's tails, and I lose 1%. I lose 1%. I gain 5%. I gain 5%. I lose 1%. I gain 5%. So I hope, guys, you get that's what it's like. You enter your position and you just if it gets stopped out, you took that chance to gain 5% at the cost of 1%. Now, of course, with the trading, it's different. It's actually much more favorable with the H&Y fractal trading. The stops usually between 1 and 2%. And the reward is usually 20% plus, right? So that's all you're doing, and it's very like you don't want to avoid those losses, right? Because if you're gonna try to avoid that 1% loss, what you may be doing is you just keep moving your stop loss, which is, you never do that, right? You just allow it to take that on the chin, and then reposition. And there's so many opportunities to reposition, right? So that is in the essence of what we're doing, right? We're flipping a coin every time we're trading. And if anybody is giving you an advice on where the price is going to be, it's still up to you to execute it correctly, right? So if you do execute it correctly, and that expert was not right, or that prediction was not right, it's totally fine. You took a chance, right? And it was quite funny, actually. I was demonstrating how it works, and I'm going to show exactly on the charts in a second. But I was demonstrating how H&Y fractals work because I have a little bit more time. So I'm doing a short time period trading, and I'm demonstrating how it works on the trading group. And I was just keep getting stopped out, right? So I had a streak of 3 stops in a row, and then I got 3 target hits in a row, right? So as I was keep getting stopped out, it may seem like, that's not working, right? But that's the part of the game, just a matter of chance. You may get stopped out 3 times in a row, and you may get a target hit 3 times in a row as well. And this is exactly what happened, and I'm going to show you. It's basically perfect to demonstrate how it works. All right. So let's go into charts. People were asking me to clean up my charts, so I did. That's pretty much all I have right now is support and resistance up and running. Okay, so first, let's look at what we have here. So I'm going to comment about this scenario right here, okay, through the H&Y fractal trading lens, so to speak. Okay, so we had a Y fractal here, right? So what I did, I shorted this area right here, because if we are going to draw some trend lines here, then it's kind of here. Actually, this way suits better. Okay. Right. So as this took off, right, I showed it here because it's natural, right? I have Y fractal. Let's measure this up. Is my target right here. So as the price moved here, I shorted, expecting the Y fractal to retrace, because this was Y2. So I shorted Y2 and stopped out, right? Because it didn't retrace, it kept going up. And then I thought, okay, well, it went up. I'm going to do it again. So I looked at my Y fractal. I looked at my target. Perfect, right? Shorted here again. Sorry, no, I went a little bit too far. What I was trying to say is that I shorted this one, and I got stopped out. But anyway, in this, I was away. I was at Ugly's place in his studio, so I missed this one. I didn't trade. But look what we had after, right? So I had 3 stops in a row, and look what we had after, like a beautiful H, right? So I took the trade, and what do we have here? We have, okay, so we have the first target 7, 8, 10, and then around. Yeah, so the first one we have 7, 8, 10, and then we have a higher target right here, but that was my target. That's it. So now after this, I'm looking what else is going on, right? So we had this big retracement, big wick, and then I'm looking for a next opportunity, and there was oh yes, this is what I did. I went into a shorter time frame, 30 minutes, and I shorted. I longed this H, right? So this boom hit my target. So I learned from before, instead of waiting, say there's another mini H, there's another mini H. So those are 30-minute H's, right, within the smaller moves. So you can play around even smaller ones, and look at how well it works. So we tested it out, right? So I longed this right here, and I'll show in a second how I do it exactly. How do I execute on these? And then sure enough, by the way, this wicked really low, but not on all exchanges. So I used what is most common average level of this wick, and that gave me this target. And it just hit right on a dot. And then what I did here, I flipped my position, I took the short, and and it went all the way to my target, 7624. And I selected that target based on based on this leg, and then based on the previous resistances, and so on. And I think, yeah, I had multiple. I had a little bit higher, and I closed it in two occasions, at this point and then at this point. And that's bringing me about 16% profit. Now, so I've been stopped out 3 times in a row, and then I got a really solid, returns 3 times in a row. So all of this is just negligible. All of this streak of losses is just absolutely negligible in comparison to those streak of wins, right? Well, now I don't know what's going to happen next. So, but what I'm doing, I am longing this H fractal, right? And as you can see here, price seems to be retracing. This is where my stop is. So I may just get stopped out if the price just keeps going down, okay? And that's perfectly normal. And if it does, then I look at it again, and I'm checking what am I looking at? Am I looking at the H0 fractal? And is it like H2 fractal? And so I'm essentially just looking for the opportunity. And it's everywhere. It's every time, like I would open up, because I'm doing other things. I just open up, look at it, and say, okay, what's going on? Oh, looks like this. I have H over here. And then it looks like Y is finished. And then looks, there's another H is being formed. Like there's always that opportunity that you take with a really tight stop, which is like between 1% and 2%, right? And it's always there. Okay, so. That's pretty much the sequence of events. Now I'm going to show you how exactly I execute on the H fractals. Okay. So first of all, we already have a target from here. Okay, so we have a couple of targets. By the way, the H fractals, they have their own character, right? So based on the phase that they are in, they may be H2, right? So if we're coming off like look at this. This goes sideways, right? So we have H2, H2. This one's H1. Then there's another one, pretty much H0, and then we start having H1s, right? As it keeps going, naturally, because it's getting skewed, right? So it's almost like we have a fractal, but it's getting squished, in so you have to kind of think the way you see your fractals, like they're a little skewed because of the trend line, right? So you look at them with the skewed way, and that's why you look for H1 as opposed to H2, because obviously if it's H2, it's breaking the trend line, and that's not your trade. So yes, I hope that makes sense. And also, these fractals tend to hit. This is like, it seems to be like in a fourth phase on if you were to equate this to hyperwave. They seem to go further than 272. They seem to go to 1618. So those are the targets that I'm eyeballing right now. And so now I measured from here. So I had one target here. Then I have one here, right? Then I have one here. Okay, so this Y fractal measuring gave me this result. Now, if I look at my H fractal, okay, it's give me these results right here, here, and oops. Okay, so this is what I said about a projecting a whatchamacallit, fractal hologram. Okay, so but you can do it in so many other ways, right? Like there's you can measure these little y's, right? And you can always see the targets and so on. All right, so we kind of projected the measurements from here to here. Now we have all these bunch of targets. But first of all, I want you to pay attention on how well it respected those targets. Look at it. It just moved right in between, and this was significant in 3 occasions. 1, 2, 3. This was significant. Look, this price went up. And this retracement was also significant as well. Look at price was picked back up at that line. So we projected these lines. Now we have 3 more lines right at this area. So what it tells us that the prices might dance around about on this area. Okay, and we have some idea of what's going on right now. Now, of course, what we have here, we can get a new idea of what's going on, right? Look at the overlap. 1, 2, 3. Seems like it's overlapping, So I don't even need to make those. Right? So you see how this fractal target overlaps with this fractal target, and that's what gives me more confidence that these are like solid targets. I can go ahead and try to look at. Let's imagine that this was H fractal and this was the bottom. Okay. In that case, what do we have? Okay, we have another confluence at this area. We have another confluence at this area. Okay, so look, we measured at 3 different occasions, and it kind of reflected all 3 into one area. So that's what I call a fractal hologram. This is the hologram. This is basically something that is not real, but it's projected to be real. And we have 3 different measurements showing us. Now, why do I like this? And why I see a lot of people like this as well, because you're not saying what's going to happen. Whether we go to 9,000, 10,000, 12,000, maybe reverse right now. Like you're not looking at any of that. What you're looking at is like current price action, and you're basing that on the current price action, and that's all there is. Also, it is absolutely not important where the price is going with this trading. Absolutely not important. You can trade those H fractals in the uptrend, in the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, at any point. Which, by the way, I'm kind of naming them by the phases as well now. So I give them the codes, right? So I give them the names because they're all different, but they're all alike. This one, for example, would be Y1618, and this is Y21618. So shorted Y21618, and then another I shorted Y2 1.272, right? So that's how I named them. Now I'm adding additional name to it based on on what type of trend line they are and how steep is the angle of the trend line. And I'm thinking of adding another name, which is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So the full code of this particular would be phase 4 Y2 1.272 fractal. That's pretty much would be the code of this little fractal. Okay. So that's what I mean by projecting fractal hologram. I hope that makes sense. Now, it doesn't mean, we don't know if it's gonna go there, but if it's gonna go there, you'll see, you will see how it's going to dance around this. It's very high likelihood that it will happen. Okay. Right. What else do we have here? All right. Okay, so I think I think that's going to be enough for this video. Yeah, I think it's going to be enough for this video. So there, people have been asking me. By the way, it's hard for me to explain. This is just fractals and Fibonacci's. Like I've not used anything else, but you can combine it with sequentials. Sequentials will give you a lot of insight too. 9 here, 9 here, 9 here, right? There's another 9 here, 9 here. 9 here. You see, it's giving you a lot of insight as well. Oh, one thing I didn't show you exactly how I execute those trades. Okay, so let me show how it's done. So let's say we see this H forming, right? Now, what are we doing? Okay, so first of all, we know that we are in the phase 4 or phase 3, whichever this is. It seems like it might be phase 3. So if that is the case, then what we're expecting, like what we saw before, we are expecting the H1 fractals. So how would I trade these? One way is to just wait for a complete completion and just long 2 above 1 and have a stop right here. Okay, so that's how you trade H1 fractal right off the bat, this way. You can also trade it by if you're expecting H1 fractal, you may have orders right here and a stop losses here. So if it is H1 fractal, it's just going to fill your orders in. It's not going to stop you out. Now, if it's not H1 fractal but it's H2 fractal, it's gonna stop you out. And if it stops you out, then it's probably going to be H2 fractal, right? And if it's H2 fractal, now you will be able to see another 2 above 1, and then you can. So you get 3 opportunities to get in a fractal trade. So that's pretty much how I would do it. And if you expect H2 fractal, then you can measure it with your fibs and see where the H2 leg would be, and then get in that one. But that's pretty tricky because H2 usually is kind of unpredictable. But H0, like I would call this one H0 because kind of the same level. This one is pretty good. I would, using HA candles, I would probably put my orders in at the body of a candle and stops at the wick if I'm expecting H0 or H1, and then it just fills it up. Now, if you can completely skip all that, and like I said, just look and long 2 above 1 after fractal. Now, that's what another way looking at the market is. You don't look at the candles, you look at the fractals. You don't trade the candles, you trade the fractals. So it becomes like this game, like a Lego block, right? So you don't just long. Look at how many times you would at what point do you long 1 above 2, right? There is just so many opportunities that you don't know which one to long, and if you just do it randomly, you're gonna get stopped out just way too often. You're not gonna get it at the right time. But if you do it with the H fractals, like look, like this 2, let's say 2 above green 1. And that's not even the perfect case scenario. So let's say you long this one and you have a stop, I say right here. And then let's say you're waiting for this to close it above this one. You have your Y2 target. And it goes up, it goes down. This is, 1272 and then 1.5 retracement, which is, like I said, it happens 80% of the time. But you can still be in a position at this point. It didn't stop you out, and just continue. So there you took it seems seemingly very arbitrary point, right? There's a lot more opportunities for you to long, 2 above 1, but you did it on the H fractal post Y2 fractal. You did an H2 fractal post Y2 fractal, and that's what it gave you. It gave you the chance. Now, it could have been stopped out too. You don't know. We don't know. But now you took a chance that if you don't get stopped out, look at all the rewards. If you do get stopped out, look at all the losses. And you take it every time. Like with this coin, would you not flip this coin infinite number of times anytime you need money? You would, because every time you get a tails, you lose 1%. Every time you get the heads, you get 5%. All you gotta do is just keep flipping. Same thing trading fractals. It takes all the stress away. There is absolutely no stress and at getting stopped out, because like it's a part of the process. It's just you just it just gives you confidence that 1, 2, 3% that you lost is going to be you're going to win on the next. You win it all back on the next move and then some. So you have the confidence in that, and you keep playing. And that's why people may say to me, how do you have like a discipline, keep playing even though like you're losing? Well, that's why, because I know that there's going to be wins around the corner. Okay, so this is just a small time frame. I don't normally trade like 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, but I'm just doing it for the sake of demonstration. If you need money, that's how you do it, right? So anytime you need money, you start playing around and you can make some money within a week. Okay. All right. So that's it, I think, for this video. That's it. Okay. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. And if you do want to have like a full blown training on this one, as you can understand, I can't teach you everything because there's so many other things that I could teach you to have for you to understand how to trade H&Y fractals, professionally. And if you are interested in that, give me a holla on my Discord channel. And if you're interested, I charge 0.1 Bitcoin per training, and I can train anything I know about H&Y fractals. I can train you for 1.1 Bitcoin. All right, guys, that's it for today. Take care. Bye bye.